This is Sniper Elite 4. We're on Xbox Series X, where the game is now optimized. So it wasn't that long ago that we were actually here taking a look at the game, because it had been given an FPS boost. That means it was running with 60 FPS, but it didn't have any sort of resolution improvement or anything like that. So the developers have actually gone back and updated the game, so we're getting a 4K resolution. They mentioned a full 4K, but then they say up to 4K, so I'm assuming it's a dynamic resolution scaling that's near native 4K most of the time, as that would make the most sense to me based on the statement details that I was given for this one. We've also got Auto HDR, which obviously is quite nice for helping to set the scene, and this is a really great game. So there's a few different ways to play it. You get your campaign, where you're basically working through this, Mediterranean type of environment. Then you've got a survival mode, where you're, kind of working with others to try to survive these scenarios. That's what we're playing here. And then finally, there is a... oh, that was a good shot. There's a multiplayer mode where you're facing off against others. Now, when I'm going to play online, it seems like a lot of the people are really intense about this game and playing some hardcore modes. So this is like hard difficulty, and I was trying to find something a little bit more easygoing. And then there was another lobby that was Authentic Plus, so they take away all of, like, the fancy sort of aim assists and all that, and it's just like such a grind. Anyways, I'm very happy to be showing this off again though, because I really quite like this game. So if you're not familiar with the Sniper Elite series, it is a bit of a... oh, it kind of shot me and threw me off there. It is a bit of a hardcore sniping game, while at the same time, it's very much something that you could play in a more action-packed capacity, and they've definitely opened up the experience to allow that a bit more. So the campaign is also different in this one, because unlike, kind of other entries in the series, it's got a Mediterranean kind of coastal sort of aspect to it, as opposed to being more of like a hardcore World War II setup. So you're actually, sort of battling these more sun-soaked areas, and it's really quite neat. And then on top of that, assuming again that you're maybe unfamiliar with the series, for every release that they do as a mainline entry in this series, they do a companion Zombie Army franchise entry. So Zombie Army 4 Dead War was sort of, I guess you could say, the spin-off and or continuation of this game, but taking it in a different direction with zombies and everything like that, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's actually kind of a really neat experience. Are we getting, like, bombed at? Oh, jeez. So this is a pretty cool sniping time, because you can play it, sort of in a competitive capacity or more casual, and you can have a lot of fun playing it, because I think it's really quite well done. Oh, where am I getting shot from? This is why I don't like, sort of hardcore and stuff, and hard difficulties on this one. I just want to have fun and show it off. And now I'm down and I can't get up. Teammate, you've come to save me. Thank you for your support. And they also get faster load times with this update, and some other minor tweaks here or there, just to kind of make the experience a bit better. But you can do all kinds of different, kind of tactical moves with the different, like, enemies, and, oh, okay, that's throwing that down, and different tools and gadgets you have available to you. I think it's a very well done series. I quite enjoy them, and this particular one in general I've had quite a lot of fun playing. I think it's, quite enjoyable. I think it's a good time. I think it offers a decent challenge and some really unique objective-based missions to work through, as you have different tasks and goals as you go out and you try to, eliminate your targets and eliminate anything you need to along the way to get your job done, whether you're blowing stuff up, eliminating folks, maybe taking out Hitler himself, maybe, And you're doing so using, like I said, a wide range of gadgets and tools. So you also notice, and maybe not as much as me, like, playing, but when you're moving around, your controller and stuff will vibrate because your heart rate goes up, and you actually have to manage your heart rate and that in order to properly shoot and in order to properly, damage the enemies that are coming your way. But anyways, it's great to have this game optimized. It does also require internal storage, in case you were wondering. It's great to have this available, though, because I assumed with the FPS boost that was going to be, sort of it, right? You weren't going to get necessarily any sort of extra improvement to it, and it is a fairly old game at this point in time. So I have to say, it's actually fantastic that they were able to go back and give us this improvement and make this game that much better and add to the longevity of the experience. It is definitely appreciated, and I think the game looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, I always thought it looked really good, but now this is a nice cleanup just in order to improve it a little bit further. And like I said, there's a lot of replayability, a lot of different things to do, leveling, different weapons, there's DLC that expands the scope of it further. And yeah, it's just a really nice, gorgeous upgrade to that overall experience. Another really neat thing is improvements to the sort of skill shot kills. Now, I don't know if you've noticed that, but you should have, because there were some gnarly shots, especially that one to the eye. But basically, when you pull off really good attacks and everything like that, you are able to get these cool X-ray shots where you can kind of see like bones exploding, or eyes, or even testicles, which is kind of funny. But yeah, you can pull off all kinds of really cool and interactive shots as you go around the environment, taking out enemies. There's also neat movement too. You can like hang and go across ledges, you can drop down to different places, and it's all about managing your skills, your stats, and your abilities in order to be effective as you use and attack enemies within the environment. And you can use the environment to your advantage. So that's what I was mostly trying to get to there. And you can cause some gnarly attacks. You can really mess things up, and you're basically just fighting alongside this really unique World War historical area, because you're in like these sun-drenched Mediterranean coastal towns. Maybe you'll even end up in like some Nazi megastructures. You know, there's all kinds of different sort of locations that you can end up doing. You can also change your range, as you see here, in order to help improve your ability to shoot enemies. It's really, really quite neat and very rewarding as you're battling through, you know, this unique location, or well, set of locations, and this really unique game setup. Because I really do genuinely think that this is a fantastic experience. It's one you can have, you know, a lot of fun playing alone or playing with others, depending on what you want to do, right? Even the PvP is kind of cool with a nice competitive angle to it. I don't know how popular it is, but it's definitely quite a lot of fun to play as you go about, you know, sort of battling in these scenarios and trying to take on other players that are also, you know, pretty good at sniping and pretty effective at their, you know, work and their job and fighting people from this this kind of front, which is kind of neat. Because a lot of other, you know, shooters are a bit more run and gun, you know, like Call of Duty, whereas this one's a bit more, hey, sit back, shoot at your opponents, kind of hope that you're not getting sniped at, and just be smart of it, or smart about it. What's also neat is, like, you know, the environment really is sort of expansive, and it's also filled with areas that you can kind of get into places, and you can use as different setups. You know, the campaign itself, a bit more linear, you might say, in terms of design, but it's also one of the most free entries in the series. So in the past, you know, you kind of have little open areas and you move through them, but it's largely linear. With this one, they really expanded the scope of it to allow you to have sandbox areas where you do get a bit of a sense of freedom. You have your targets that you need to get done, but you can kind of move around through it how you want. Now, not every level's like that, but there are a lot of really cool levels where you're actually able to really sit there and kind of come up with different plans and attack and deal with a spot in different ways, which I think is, you know, quite cool and interactive. It's just a really fun experience that looks good and offers you a lot of neat ways to battle and play. So like I said, with the gadgets and skills, you actually get to select those. You get to create sort of a class. You can pick between a bunch of different characters. I thought I would mix it up for the main character, but I don't know if I totally love having this character in style, but you know, there are a range of different options for how you want to play, and you get a bunch of different characters. And like I said, there's DLC. This game is, like, you know, well, honestly, because it's getting updated right now, it's super well supported, and they definitely deserve high praise for that, because this is an older title. You know, they optimized Zombie Army, but I didn't think that they would take the care to optimize this one. So I gotta say, I definitely, you know, appreciate them doing that. Okay. To get back up here and kind of set this up better, and it's just really good that they actually care enough about their games to go back and do that, because I don't think too many companies would, and they constantly are adding like new content, not necessarily to this one, but you know, there was DLC that they added, and then you look at Zombie Army where they do keep adding content to it. That's what I want to say in general, was like, this company is one that goes back and actually cares about their titles, supports their titles well after launch, and I think that is admirable too. Whether you know, want to dive into that extra DLC is totally up to you, but, you know, it's kind of a nice option that they did expand the scope of it a little bit more. So yeah, you just gotta kind of go across these really gorgeous landscapes and deal with the neat scenery, and it's just such an improvement to have this running at 4K 60. It's really, really cool to have. Now, with that, it would have also been neat if they could have maybe offered 120 FPS as a mode. That would have been cool. It's obviously not in this one, there's no options or anything for it. But that would have been a really neat sort of upgrade for this one. Just to have that kind of option here, it would have been really cool. But, I mean, they weren't able to do it with the FPS boost, so maybe the power draw just isn't necessarily there, unless they really wanted to rework things. But I'm, you know, genuinely just happy with the fact that they actually improved this experience, that they continue to put out these great games, and I'm assuming at some point we're due for a zombie, or not a zombie army, we just got a zombie army. We are due for a Sniper Elite 5, because I would imagine that that would be likely their next project that they would be working on, because they've, you know, they're still supporting zombie army, but it's been out for a little bit now, so I imagine, you know, in a couple of years or something like that, we'll get a bigger, badder Sniper Elite 5, and it's probably just going to be a stellar title. Because like I said, this game is fantastic. It is a lot of fun. If you've been waiting for whatever reason, you know, to give it a whirl at this point, I think this is definitely worth it. If you were like, oh, FPS Boost, awesome, but you were still kind of like waiting, I think now is that perfect time, because it is looking great, it is performing very well. This is a very nice upgrade to have for this game, and definitely appreciate it. Might be crazy, but it would be really cool if they could actually go back and do some of their other older titles too. It's probably asking too much, I would imagine. But you know, there's like Sniper Elite 3 maybe, there's Sniper Elite V2, which was like a sort of remastering of the second one there. That would all be very cool. Maybe even Zombie Army Trilogy would be nice to have that one upgraded. And I feel like you know, kind of asking for too much probably, considering the ages of the titles. But I'm just saying, you know, it would just be really neat to see them, you know, go back and do that. That would be really, really cool. Because like I said, this series is a lot of fun. And it's a very different one, because it sort of bridges the gap perfectly between something that is tactical and perfectly stealthy, and also arcadey. So you get both of those combinations. If you want to have a serious sniper sort of simulation, this is your game. If you want to have something that's also a little bit more fun with some sniping, go for it as well. You can really set and fine-tune how you play this experience to whatever you're, you know, whatever you'd like. And I think that's really cool and interesting, because there's not too many titles that perfectly do that. It's sniping, so it's a bit of a niche. Ooh, Testine shot. So, you know, there's already going to be a little bit less of competition. But then on top of that, you know, you either get really arcadey things or you get really serious things, and this one sort of kind of splats down right nicely in the middle for a nearly perfect sort of time there. And it's just like every little part of this feels really majestic and calm, and it looks good. You know, it genuinely does look good. It looks sharp, it looks clean, it's smooth running, and I definitely appreciate that. So we're just going to kind of give it a little bit of a detail, I guess, story-wise. So I also use a lot of the assault rifle in this game. Well, not assault rifle, it's a submachine gun. But, you know, I use that kind of weapon quite a bit, which might sound surprising to people. Because, you know, sometimes there's more action scenes, and you can sort of rush levels. When I first checked this out, it was actually at E3, and I got to do an early run at the bridge scene, and I actually had one of the fastest, I think actually maybe the fastest runtime of that bridge level. I just went to business and I got it done. But that's the thing, is like there's different approaches to how you want to do these scenarios. Are you slow and steady, or are you fast and running? You know, I think it takes a little bit away from the experience running through stuff instead of just like, you know, setting up those sniping moments, but it's really up to how you want to play it, and they just give you the toys to play with. I mean, they definitely do limit your potential for the side weapons, you know, ammo-wise and stuff. They want you to snipe, but they do give you that choice that when it gets really heated, you can pull out your SMG. I also really love the element of basically spotting. I'm sure you've seen it a few times. You've got like binoculars, which are your friend, but you've also got this element of enemies spotting you. So an enemy might see me here, And then if I run away, I can go over here and there'll be like a red marking. You've probably, again, seen that while we've been playing, that's been showing up. So that you can kind of move around the map and see where the enemies kind of knew of your last position, and then move away from it. But like I was saying, I kind of wanted to give just a little bit of a, quick little detail thing. So covert agent and elite marksman Carl Fairburn must fight alongside the brave men and women of the Italian resistance to help free their country from the yoke of fascism, and defeat a terrifying new threat with the potential to halt the Allied fight back in Europe before it's even begun. If he fails, there will be no Operation Overlord, no D-Day landings, and no victory in Europe. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. And the reason for this one, it follows the success of the update to Zombie Army 4, so I'm assuming that update got a lot of new people playing, and a lot of new people interested in the series. So yeah, absolutely fantastic game. A true pleasure to be back here taking a look at it, because I do think this one's a bit more niche, you might say, but with that, I do actually still have a lot of fun playing it, and it's really cool to be showing it off here, or well, having an excuse to play it again and showing it off, because now it is running really great, and we've got a title that for even years in the future people can go back and appreciate, because now it is quite a stunner.